Aging isn't about Botox or biohacking. It's actually unlearning what we were taught about getting older and what that looks like. I mean, don't you find that nowadays when you look online, when you see people around you, people who were like when you were younger and you watch people who were in their 40s or 50s just look really old. And now when we're hitting our 30s and our 40s, you're like, we still feel quite young here. So there's a huge dissonance that's going on right now, and I'd like to talk about it with you guys. Hi, my name is Kajal. I am a diabetes health and wellness coach, a culturally inspired sportswear designer, and just a simple Gujarati girl navigating what it means to be aging with a chronic illness, culture, and confidence. So, what are the lies that we've been fed? So, there's this thing that as you age, you decline, like you lose value. And I find that really strange because, especially in communities like ours, if you manage, I mean, look at back in the day, people had quite a few children because they weren't sure if they would survive sickness, all sorts of things, animals attacking them. And this cultural way of thinking has continued, number one. Number two, they want um, their genetics to continue, their name to continue. If something had to happen to them as they got older, they've got all these kids to carry on the name, right? But as they age, a lot of people didn't get past the age of 45, 50 due to sickness, illness, something happening to, being in an accident of some sort. And don't have a lot of the medicine that's available. So a lot of people would know they wouldn't get past a certain age. And therefore, that's why people think as you age, you lose value, you decline. But you know what? Things have changed, number one. But if you went past 50, you got the innings. You are, a strong person. You managed to fight illness. You managed to protect yourself, look after yourself. And that's really the big win, don't you think? That doesn't mean that you've lost value. That means you're stronger. You've been able to handle so much more. So what if we look at aging not as vanity, but as visibility? You're still here. I'm still here, despite everything that came against me. But actually also what came and pushed me forward. The world worked in your favor. Now here's the thing. As times have changed, yes, there's this fear of surviving and being present past the age of 50, yeah? But then also nowadays, culturally, we're still thinking that way. But women, this is a stat, 60% of women between the ages of 30 and 50 actually fear aging because they think that they're going to lose visibility, that they're becoming invisible, they're being less seen. And that's based on looks because perhaps they're thinking, and most people think this way, most women think this way, if you're pretty, you'll be seen. And if you're aging and you're losing your prettiness, you won't be seen. But look at all these fabulous women from Sharon Stone to Sophia Loren. Sophia Loren just locked 90. I read a really great article about how she is living her best life. And you know where it comes from? It's not actually about physical aging, it's your mindset. For me, I actually feel a lot better since I went past the age of 35 because I suddenly just dropped all the things I should be worried about. And as a result, you're not stressing about a lot of things. Like my face, so far, I haven't had any procedures done. I'm not going to because I want to age gracefully. If you want to do it, please be my guest. I have no judgments against this. But what I'm saying is, we shouldn't be doing that because we want to preserve something. You want to preserve your energy. Like I feel so much younger now that I don't care about a lot of things. And that's where a lot of aging comes from. Because we keep worrying about he said, she said, they said, what's going to happen here. And once you stop having these pretenses, you will just glow. My glow came after the age of 35. I'll tell you that. More so like in the last couple of years, but yeah, post 35, things that used to bother me when I was in my 20s, suddenly I'm like, this means nothing and it's not paying my bills and it's actually just ridding me of any sleep, the sleep that will actually make me feel more energetic and probably get rid of any dark circles on top of all the water I'm drinking. So, how do we look at aging? How do we really reframe it? How about we say aging is maintenance, not misery? So there's no drop in the scale, it's actually just continuous. And bonus, if it goes higher, fantastic. First things first, your routine needs to change, not shrink. Because if the routine shrinks, you shrink, your energy shrinks, your aura shrinks. You don't want to shrink, you want to be who you are. In fact, you want to glow even further. So add more protein, add more water, add more pleasure, add all of the good things. And you know what? Maybe when you get past 35, 40, you might have to test new things out to see what is it that genuinely brings you happiness and pleasure and healthier options now. Because the things you did in your 20s might not necessarily make you feel good in your 30s. The things you did in your 30s might not necessarily make you feel good in your 40s. But I mean, if they do, fantastic. But I mean, I've seen this. I used to drink a lot more coffee in my 20s. Now, I actually prefer green tea or matcha. It's just a cleaner energy. Nowadays, if I do have a glass of wine, I can only probably have one. Not because there's anything hungover the next day. It's just I don't like feeling slower. I like to be clear-minded. I like that clean energy when I wake up. But that first sip, ooh, that first sip of a crisp white wine with some nice fish or with a friend on a hot summer's evening, that makes my soul happy. But I'm not going to drink as if I'm going to the club and going to dance. And, I mean, dancing is great. When I did it in my 20s, it was fun and fine. I felt very young. I can still do it now, but I don't want to do it now. So, same thing. Probably when I hit 50, it's going to be something else. I'll be like, you know what? I want to go skiing. I don't know. But that's me. You need to find what is it that brings you pleasure. And that will keep this joyous energy, this almost childlike energy in you, no matter what age, because then you actually have a positive dissonance between your body and your mind because you're going to always be like, I can do it. You're not going to be, oh, you know what? I slept funny. Oh, my back. Oh, I can't do it because of my knees. Obviously, you have to take this into consideration. You're not going to go, you know, skiing when you have creaky joints. But that means maybe you have some more cod liver oil. That means you can go to the on the skiing trip, maybe do a few things, and then as you edge to get more confident in it, you'll be better. But don't just cut it off just because you've gotten older. I hear so many people say, I can't do it, I'm too old. I'm too old to this. Oh, I'm getting too old. All, as I say, all the little cells in you are listening to it. They're hearing every single word you're saying. And they can be like, yeah, she's old. Yeah, he's getting older. And don't. And these are little simple tricks. So, as I mentioned, find different activities, rediscover yourself, what brings you pleasure and joy now that you're getting older. Number one. Number two, obviously, drink your water, etc. Now, number three, this is a big one, protein. I know, and especially as a Gujarati girl, like we struggle to put muscle mass on. But that's also because our diet's not really filled with protein. So, make sure you have enough protein. If you need to track it, find a way. Beans, if you do have meat, have fish and chicken, have eggs. If you need to add a protein shake, please do. All our dals, they're so full of protein. But why I say this is because women in general, we lose muscle mass as we get older. We can't get away from that. So you want to maintain, as I started this beginning of this video, you don't want to drop, you don't want to have a decline, you want to maintain as best as you can. So if you can have 30 grams of protein when you first wake up within the first hour, you are going to preserve your muscle mass as best as possible. If you can do some weight training, you preserve your muscle mass. You don't have to build the muscle mass if you don't want to, and that's the thing, you won't get stocky. You will not build like a man because we do not have enough testosterone. But as a brown woman, where we genetically already have very small muscles, I am also a tiny build. A lot of us Gujarati girls are that way. And if you're on the bigger side, to lose that fat and maintain the muscle is really important. And I remember muscle is 4 times heavier than fat. So even if you are doing all this exercise in the gym and you're not losing the weight, don't look at weight on the machine on the scale. Look at how your clothes fit you, because Muscle is leaner, but it's heavier, it's denser. So you want to maintain the amount of protein you have in your meals and in your foods because and your body. Because as you get older, it will waste, it will become very thin. And you want to be strong to be able to lift your kids, lift your grandkids, lift your nieces and nephews, also things around the house. You want to be able to do that without pulling a muscle or causing pain to a joint because the muscles around everywhere are going to be protecting you. So these are really practical ways to, when I say avoid aging, you're not avoiding aging, you're almost safe-proofing yourself from aging, from the things that they're naturally going to happen anyway. But you also don't want to get to the point where you're like, yeah, that's the real let go, you know, where you've lost you and you want to maintain you, not because you want to stay young, but it's because you want to preserve who you are now. You get me? Number two, this is the second one, which is practical, but it's also very culturally nuanced. Rest. Now, one thing I make sure I get is a good 8 hours of sleep. If I don't have enough during the day, I'll try and nap where I can. But since I've been doing this, so many people have told me my skin glows and I feel like my brain can work better. So when I say this culturally nuanced, is that as a Gujarati girl growing up in a brown community, and I've seen this also with a lot of my friends within my Zambian friends, um, my other black friends from Kenya, Ghana, South Africa, because culturally we're not told, sorry, if let's just say you're at a family event, you're in the house, and you are tired. Like especially with the diabetes, when the sugars are really high and I feel sluggish and I can't bring them down, I can't do anything. I can and I will, but I've learned over time that my body is not functioning. It's literally under duress until the insulin hits me and it brings the sugars down. I am under duress. All the baby cells are just like, we can't, this is too toxic for us. But it's hard. And I've seen this with some of my other diabetic friends here as well, where because you don't want to also say I'm diabetic because then there's this kind of stigma that I'm weak, combined with if you're laying on the couch or in your bedroom and all the women in the household, and this happens usually in communities of color, the women first, the men separate, cooking, cleaning the house, looking after the children. It's very easy for an auntie or someone to say, see, she's sleeping, she's lazy. And we really have to learn, especially if you have a chronic illness, rest is not lazy, it's preservation. Now, with that, like that way of thinking, you're always going to be stressed. It's going to show on your skin, it's going to show on your body, Now, imagine that for years, our mums were like this, our grandmoms were like this. And no wonder when you look back, you're like, how come people at 40 were looking really old? This is why. So, choosing yourself to be able to have a full cup before you can pour into others is really important. So, make sure you get your sleep, whether it's just your 8 hours at night, but also have that peace of mind and heart. Because, especially in our communities, there's a lot of pressure to perform, to be there, to be present, and to almost put yourself last. Just remember, and respectfully, and I do talk about this in some of my coaching programs, the way in which to say to an elder or to a family member without disrespecting them how to put yourself first is so important because we're not that generation. We're a different generation. And already by you choosing yourself looks blasphemous. But there's ways in which you can do it so that you are able to support yourself without being disrespectful. And I think that's a real cultural nuance that is missing in a lot of ways in which we handle our health. Whether you're diabetic or not, whether you have any sort of condition, I think it's really important for women to ensure that they have that rest so that they're there for their husbands, they're there for their kids, they're there for their boyfriends, partners, they're there for their work. But more than anything, you're there for you. Because a lot of times we do things for everyone else, and then we wonder why at 45 I feel lost. I don't know who I am anymore. This is why. It's not actually because you're lost. You have everything in front of you, but because you haven't let yourself rest. A lot of the thought processes, the neurotransmitters, they're fried. So sleep is the plug. It really is. Please make sure you go to sleep. And you know what? Have a nice silky pillow or a nice eye mask. Spray your pillow with lavender. Have a really great bedtime routine and have a really great morning routine. I spoke about it in my last two previous videos. You may not get enough sleep, but at least that anchors you. But also it gets you excited to get into bed. Gets you excited to get up. You have your nighttime routine to go to sleep. You have a certain time to go to bed. You have a certain time to wake up. Because that way, if you don't have these anchors in your schedule and you're working for, a side hustle, you're studying, you're looking at the family, there's a lot going on. Sometimes it's hard to have a great schedule in place to ensure that you are at the center of it. So yeah, check it out. My previous two videos. You don't need to look younger. You just need to feel safer in your skin. What'll happen is that glow, that energy that you carry is just gonna magnetize. It's just gonna, everyone's gonna come towards you and be like, you know what? You're acting, you're sounding really young, really energetic, really youthful, fulfilled. It's got nothing to do with looks, it's about energy. And then that energy is so contagious. People will want to be around you. You're going to be this like young child again and everyone's going to be like, "Wow, let's get excited too." You know? So, you need to these detox from comparison, not your colon. Everyone talks about those kinds of detoxes. Because when you start comparing yourself, like, oh, so and so is 45 and they've done this, and oh, so and so online is doing this, you're anchoring in other people and not yourself. Your 45 is so different to someone else's 45. Your 32 is so different from someone else's 32. And that doesn't mean it's better or worse. It's just different. And the moment you own it and you hold it and you're like, this is mine, that energy is going to show you as ageless. You are aging gracefully because even when you're 60 years old, you're going to be owning that so much that people be like, we can see that you're 60, but you're not really 60. Even all my siblings, really young at heart. We've all been so active. I don't believe my age at times, but that's because we all embody a certain energy. And this is why I'm saying once you anchor in yourself, not yourself at an age or yourself in a location or yourself in a job, you, what do you enjoy? What brings you pleasure? What brings you happiness? What's your favorite food? And be unapologetic about it. Ooh, ooh, that is ageless. So, you know what you need to do every day? Just 5 minutes in the morning when you're boiling your water for tea, when you're doing your stretches, the little routines I told you about in the previous videos. Just ask your body, like speak to your body, your little cells. What do I need today? What do I need? What can I give you so that you feel you today? This is something I didn't do in my 20s. I just kind of went where the wind went. I mean, I still had my rebellious streak. I was like, I want to do this, I want to do this. But you still follow the crowd and you don't really know who you are in your 20s. There's a lot of people pleasing. My 30s, I have learned a lot of things about my health, myself, and what makes it tick for me, what moves the needle for me. And I think when I get into my 40s, I am just going to refine that and make sure that is bulletproof. Like, this is definitely mine. So I think that's something which you should think about too. Again, we shouldn't be worried that, in 10 years' time and 15 years' time, I'm going to be 60, I'm going to be 80. Science has changed as well. As I mentioned at the beginning of this video, people who got past the age of 45, 50, winning. But now people are living to the ages of 80, 90 due to technology, due to awareness of the way we're eating food, everything. I mean, obviously, there's a lot of inorganic food out there, pesticides, microplastics, all of that. But we also have advancements in medication and technology so we can scan and screen for things earlier as well. And there's a lot of conversation. We are not living in villages where we go to the local witch doctor to go and diagnose something which they've never seen before, you know? So also bear that in mind that when you look at, oh, at the age of 70, I'm going to feel old. Don't think that, because if you think that, you will be old. But it's really important to start looking at the next 10 years of your life with intention, with positive intention, and say, you know what? I've been doing this for this decade. I don't want any of it. I want this. Or say, you know what? I learned so much, and I'm just going to fine tune and tweak it, and we're going to make this real solid, and we're going to get better at this. Do you know? So look with that positive light, because you are then manifesting the most beautiful life that you've been given in this world. And you are lucky to be aging gracefully in this time. So that's the thing with health and technology, it's so forward paced that a lot of, not, I don't say diseases, conditions, as I keep saying, conditions are diagnosed in our 30s and 40s, especially in communities of color, because as I mentioned, our genetics are already loaded. And the way we eat these days, there's a lot of, as I said, pesticides, microplastics, a lot of high processed foods, etc. So we're already loading, like the gun's already loaded, we're about to fire. So we have things like diabetes and hypertension, burnout, psychological, emotional, all these issues that are happening at a younger age. And it doesn't help that we carry all this cultural guilt that we have to look after this one and we have to be this. And we've been forced to become a doctor, but we don't want to become a doctor. I want to go and become a footballer. Little things like this all add up, and it's culturally influenced. And this is where, for us women, women of color, we have to make sure we do our checks. We put ourselves first. We rest enough. And we are making decisions when we're not erratic, when we're calm. We don't want to wait until we're burnt out. We don't want to wait until we've become diabetic for us to then say, oh, I need to actually adjust my life. These conditions, they can age you. So diabetes, it can age you. Sugar is like rust in the body, and that's a topic for another day. Burnout, you're going to feel so, you're not getting enough sleep. You've got dark circles. Now you've got crow's feet. All sorts of things that mentally you're just like, what am I doing? These things can really age you. And we really need to take a step back and put ourselves first. As aging gracefully is, again, not just for the outside. That is just a bonus. But you want to age gracefully because you know who you are, that you're healthy, that you're strong, that you carry a positive, great, ambitious energy in life? So this is the thing, us females, especially from communities of color, carry so much like in our little emotional backpack that is going to not age us very well. And we don't want that, do we? And now, there's not just menopause, there's perimenopause, which is so real. Please do your research about this. Check with your gynecologist. All these things that we need to look at, we should start looking at, researching, asking our doctors about in our 30s, because you don't want to get to 40, 45, 50 blindsided. I'm your big sister, and I'm here to tell you things that you should be checking out for, so that if you can do all the steps, you can safeguard your health for the next 10 years. There was a podcast I listened to with Mel Robbins, and she spoke to a doctor. I need to get his name. Hopefully, I put it on the screen when I remember. Um, and they talk about the actions that you do today will have an effect on you over the next 10 years. So you can actually have a longer health span, not lifespan, health span. So years of good living. You can extend that by 7 to 8 years just by choosing better food options, better lifestyle options, but also emotional and mental options. Do your checks. So, glow is not about youth, it's actually about peace, peace within. It's so important. All of this, the glow in your skin, good hair, good physique, that's all a byproduct of being really healthy and strong and glowy and energetic from the inside, you know? So if you're in your 30s or 40s and your body is changing and things are happening and you're unsure where to be emotionally, physically, I hope this video gives you something to think about and say, you know what? Where can I take control of my life and really anchor in my happiness, my joy, my graceful aging? Because all of that is the reason for causing graceful aging. Graceful aging is a byproduct of all of that. So tell me this week, what is one cultural belief that you're going to drop, that you're going to unlearn? Put it in the comments below. I'd love to hear about it. And if there's anything that you want help with, please ask there too. I also have a free 21-day wellness tracker. Some of it's cultural, some of it's practical, but it's really good stuffs to get you going, to make a few changes in your day-to-day basis that can help you mindset, body-wise, to get you on the right path. It's in the description below. Make sure you like and subscribe. I hope you loved what's in this video, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.